Welcome to Subramani. I'm going to talk about certain things which impact only an equity investor. So, if you are a mutual fund investor, you need not worry too much about this. So, one is portfolio sizing. When you buy a good share, let's say you've done a lot of research and you've arrived at a good share which you think has got great potential over the next 5-10 years. So to give you an example, one of the shares that I picked up at 8-9 rupees was Yes Bank, because when the parentage changed from Rana Kapoor to SBI and HDFC Bank, I realized the most important thing of risk management in banking is now in place. Yes, they will be very conservative, but being conservative has never hurt a bank. Being aggressive has hurt a bank. Being politically manipulated has hurt a bank, like an Indian Overseas Bank or most PSU banks. So I thought it was a good share to buy, and I have done one thing is I have done sizing of the portfolio. So I bought a small amount at 8, but I bought at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe even 14, 15, right? So I think it has got potential, and I have done one very important thing is sizing. It is important that when I started early in Yes Bank at 8-9 rupees, the advantage was there was not too much of downside, or at least I did not think there is too much of downside. So I could buy on the way up, I could buy on the way down, because it went to 17, I bought, then it came down to 13, 14, maybe even 12, I don't remember. So I bought. So two important things: in equities you will lose money, but very important that you do sizing properly and you have great clarity on whether you are an investor in that script or you are a trader, and there is no reason why you should not wear both hats in the same share, right? So you bought a share, I mean, let's say you bought the same Yes Bank and that went up to 21, you sold, it came down to 17 and you bought. So you should have that also, but you should say, okay, this is core investment, this I will not touch, this is an X amount with which I will trade. Only when you do this will you be able to do sizing properly, will you be able to do averaging properly, and you will be able to do stop loss. All these things are important even while investing. Only thing is, while investing, when you're sure that in some of the equities you will lose money, you have to know where should be your stop loss and where you will average. Right? If a share falls 30%, is it time to sell? Mostly yes, but if it is, let's say you bought Indigo in December 19, January 20 and February 20, you were averaging or whatever, on the way up, on the way down, and in March 2020 COVID happened and the price of Indigo fell, right? That's a time when you have to take stock, saying, has only the share which I have bought, which is Indigo, fallen, or have all other shares, like say for a minute let us assume that Jet Airways, Kingfisher, SpiceJet, have all of them fallen? Has the industry fallen? Has the whole tourism industry fallen? If they have all fallen 30%, has my share fallen 30% or 25%? If it has fallen 30% or 25%, you are in good shape, right? That industry has fallen, so therefore your company had no choice, it would also fall. Or maybe because your Indigo fell, the whole industry fell. It was perhaps the market leader. At that stage you have to take a call. Would you be buying more? Would you be doing a stop loss? Or whether you would be you'd be just getting rid of the whole thing and say, oh no, the pandemic is going to kill the world. So that's a call that you have to take. So similarly, when you do sizing, you have to average on the way up. This is not something which people like to do. If they buy, let's say you bought some share at 30 rupees, let's say you bought Tata Power at 30 rupees, you bought 500 shares, then you meet me and the price is around 60 rupees and I tell you Tata Power looks good. You say, no, I already have Tata Power. That's not the way to look at it. I bought Tata Power at 30, 40, 50, right up to 80 I was buying. At 260 I sold, because my own target was only 200. I said 200 is too much for this and I was making I think I was making long-term capital gain, but somewhere I was also making short-term capital gain. I said this is too much, so I sold at 260, 250, 270, whatever. I think even 280 it reached. I'm not very sure now. Then on the way down, it is now perhaps at 220. when I'm making this video. I'm not very sure. I've not been tracking the price on a day-to-day basis. So I bought, I've sold, I've done everything, and I'm the original shareholder. Original shareholder means I bought these shares 30-40 years ago. So I have that, and I have traded, I have bought, I have added, I have reduced, I have done everything. So you will keep doing everything, but you have to know that this is your core investment portfolio, this is your core trading portfolio. So will there be is it possible that there be some investor who has never lost money, or a fund manager who has never lost money on any share? It is not possible. Let us take a simple case of Videocon. It is almost impossible to say that I would not have bought Videocon. So I bought Videocon originally when it was with the Birla Group, and it was a JV. There was nothing to say this company wouldn't make money, right? Vodafone was an international biggie. Birla was not somebody to scoff at. So you assume that Birlas would have done the due diligence, and they were entering a very lucrative market. Okay, not lucrative, but a very, very big market, right? So there was no way how this company could have lost money. So Bharti Airtel was making money, so there was no chance that it would lose money, but it still lost money. It lost money for a lot of its shareholders. So obviously I, as a shareholder, luckily I got out very, very quickly, so I lost a very small amount of money. So if a fund manager lost money in Videocon, or either in equity or in debt, I wouldn't blame him, simply because there was nothing to show why it would have lost so much money, but it was bleeding. And even now the share price is, I think, around par, $10 and or whatever, below par. Do I have confidence in the management? Yes, I do, but the equity is too bloated. Then a big shareholder is the government of India. So now I may not be optimistic, I may be optimistic. I may still have some shares left in my portfolio. I have nothing positive or negative to say on that. But you have to be ready in the equity markets to lose money. The question is, how quickly will you cut your losses? I have loss cutting in two ways. One is, suppose I buy a share today at 100 rupees, and then the price goes down to 80 rupees and nothing else has fallen. I mean, assuming I bought at 100 and now it has gone down to 80, and the market is same, right? Market was here and market has remained here, or market has gone up or down a little bit, but definitely not gone down 20%. Now it is for me to wonder whether I should have a 30% stop loss, or whether I should cut out at 20%, because anyway it's not moving. I also have another stop loss, which is time stop loss. So I buy a share hoping that in 4 years at least it should double, which means about 18% return. But I find that in 6 months, 7 months, it is going nowhere. It is just not doing anything. Maybe the whole industry is not moving. Maybe I bought sugar and sugar is not moving. Maybe I bought steel and steel is not moving. Maybe it's a commodity. For whatever reason, 6 months. So I have given it time and I have given it price, both the ranges. So if it does not work out in that range, then I am completely out of that share, because obviously something is wrong. I got the price wrong, I got the management wrong, I got the industry wrong, I got the timing wrong, something I've got wrong. And there is a element of opportunity cost, that I could have done something else with that money. At worst, I could have kept it in a liquid fund and earned more money, right? So in such cases also, I just get out of it and say, this is not working for me, right? And sometimes I look at mutual fund portfolios and say, wow, this is fantastic, I love the portfolio, so I invest in that and I've got fantastic result in some of them. I don't wish to name them, but yes, that has happened. I have done timing in mutual funds and it has worked very well for me. I have done timing in mutual funds and it has not worked at all for me, but I have stuck around with the mutual fund. I stick around saying, let me do an SIP and check, and after some time, if I find it does not still work out, then I get out. But that very rarely happens, because I'm very choosy about where I invest, right? So these are some of the things which people should know. And also this portfolio sizing means averaging up or averaging down. Both could happen. The share price could be falling and you are convinced that it's a good buy. You could be buying on the way down, but very importantly, you are right and the price is moving up. You could be, buy on the way up. People don't buy on the way up. People are very scared and they're very satisfied. Oh, I've got 500 shares of Tata's Power. I bought at 30 rupees. Now it is 180, but you could have bought more, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. There are other reasons also why the market could be losing money, but you should not lose money in a company where you have done wrong sizing, or rather you should not earn less just because you did not buy enough quantity. So averaging on the way up is also good, averaging on the way down is also good, depending on how confident you are about your research. Also, it's very important to know that the market is not always correct, right? So when BHEL was at 25 rupees, I actually tweeted saying in Bombay even Bhelpuri is not available at 25 rupees, right? So that is the price. But remember one thing, PSUs have been value and wealth destroyers over long periods of time. In 2007, I sold BHEL at 300 plus, right? 305 or something like that, some sensational price. That also I should thank Ken Fisher, because I read his book and I said, okay, BHEL is definitely overpriced. And that same share I could buy again at 25 rupees in 2021, I think 20 or 21, I'm not very sure. I think 20, maybe the impact of the COVID. So 20 or 21, I could be able to buy it at 25 rupees. Just imagine you've sold it at 300 and you're getting at less than 1/10 the price after 14 years. This is been a tremendous value destroyer for long-term shareholders. But you will always get a chance to get in and get out. You will be able to trade. It's not been a great long-term investment story. Same thing for even good shares like State Bank of India. But State Bank of India at 150 rupees just can't be bad, right? It has got subsidiaries like AMC, life insurance, general insurance, credit cards. At 150 rupees, it couldn't be wrong, but you also got a chance to buy it right from 150 to 500, and I thought that was all a good price. Right, so some of the times you get this chance, and 30 rupees for Tata Power was just not justified. So luckily I got good quantity, and I've also bought on the way up, right up to 70 or 80. So sometimes you get a chance, sometimes you keep wondering, why is the market not seeing what you're seeing? This is a great time when you start getting such questions, you go and look at portfolios of Prashant Jain. Now it's being managed by Roshi Jain or Gopal Agarwal. Then you always have Naren, Anand Radhakrishnan, Tahir Badshah. You look at all their portfolios and see what they have been picking up. And remember, fund managers can make mistakes too. For example, when Coal India was 330 or 340, the government announced that it is going to sell it through ETF. I went panicked and sold off all my Coal India shares at 300 and or 330, and then I bought it back at 120, 119 to be precise. Sometimes you get a chance to sell at a high price and buy at a low price, but I did not see the fund managers selling Coal India. I found the fund managers buying State Bank of India, but at any price. And Prashant Jain took so much of brick bats. Everybody was busy throwing bricks at Prashant instead of copying his style. And I've always benefited copying some of their styles. It's not that I would copy the full portfolio, but after I decide, I go and have a look at saying, what are these fund managers thinking about the share? To me, it's important, but I also know that sometimes I can be right and they can be wrong. It happens very rarely, but and I have invested in their funds. So I am saying that even if I am wrong in my personal portfolio, I will benefit by their fund or stock picking skills, right? So all these guys are very good investment managers, business managers, rather than just fund pickers, right? Or just stock pickers. So they understand what they are doing. So sometimes it is important to know that they could also go wrong. Why am I optimistic about equity markets? I think it's very simple that India is growing. India is growing at a good pace. So we will get a good equity market. So next 20-30 years, it does not bother me that we will hit something like what happened in Japan or Greece or something like that. I don't see that happening. I do think we have a good regulator in place. We have good and a lot of people watching the markets and reporting. Of course, there is a problem in social media. People who know markets don't know media. People who know media don't know markets. So the twain will never meet. In good quality investors in India are not writing enough. They are not on social media. They are very reclusive. You could look at their portfolios and they have done sensationally well. There are people who have done better than Rakesh Jhunjhunwala, but who just don't come out and talk about it, right? So they keep very quiet, and similar amounts of money. I'm not talking of doing well on 100 crores and comparing it to Rakesh, who's done well on 37,000 crores. No, I'm talking about people who have handled similar kinds of money and earned much better than what even Rakesh has earned overall income. So those people do exist, but they don't. They are not there in the media. Forget social media. They just don't come to the media. So those that gyan is what you're missing. It's not available. So you have to be sure about what you're buying, but you also have to be sure that the market is not always correct about what you think should happen in the market. So in such cases, you have to be aware that you have to use your brain, your risk, your research, and then take a decision rather than depend on somebody else. Just some more gyan on equity. Thank you.